So what's up, guys? This is Igor in Russia, and as you know, I make videos from the Western perspective about Russia, filming the daily life. But I have an awesome guest here, straight from Irkutsk region and slash America, and a wild Siberian YouTuber. Welcome to the channel, Dan.
Thank you so much. It's actually, I'm originally from Mexico. I'm a Mexican American, and yeah, I live now in the Irkutsk Oblast out here in Russia. Thank you for having me.
I have tons of questions. I have some basic questions, but I'll just go along with it. You said the interesting fact that I watch tons of American content. Maybe too much. And I'm fine with it. I love it. It opens my mind. But one thing that I've noticed that in America, you say always you're an American. Then you can make the distinction that African Americans. Some people say it's not correct, etc. Some like black activists, for example, and then of course this the Mexican thing, Mexican American. Once you're like a citizen, then you can flip those both twos. But if you're just a Mexican, depending how you can, this border thing with the border control.
Yeah.
How do you think about that? Because in America, it is great to be an American, right? But when I'm thinking about myself living in Finland, if I say I'm Russian in Finland, that means basically, for somebody, it might sound like I'm a traitor for Finnish people. If I say I'm Russian Finnish, if I'm Finnish citizen, then I'm also like, weird answer. You have to say Finnish and forget all the history, especially if you're Russian. But if you're like, let's say Japanese, that's fine. I'm Japanese Finnish. Oh, wow, Japan. Or American Finnish, that would be the awesome because they love American TV.
Yeah.
How do you think about that? Because I know you have a view on that living in Russia and
yeah, I mean, look, when you're growing up in America, it all depends on who America is okay with. Unfortunately, like, could you imagine being a German American during the 1940s and a Japanese American? So right now,
I can if it was before they decided to go against, because they were supporting Germany originally in some ways.
There was some stuff going on inside, but what I'm trying to explain is that like my heritage, I get it from my mother. My mother is a Mexican. The blood inside my body is completely Mexican. What I like about America in a way is that you have so many ethnicities. Even though we self-segregate, nobody's ever gonna try me in the streets if I say, hey, I'm Mexican American, especially where I'm from. If you have a problem with that, it's gonna be your problem, because we're the majority, and it kind of seems messed up, but that's just how it is. But like, I'm very proud of my roots. That's why I say I'm a Mexican American. Here in Russia, it's pretty funny. People don't understand that concept. Like, you tell them, hey, I'm a Mexican American. They'll be like, okay, is
which
your
one?
Father American? Is your father American? And your no. Like, I'll be like, no, my blood, my mother and my father are Mexican, but I'm just an American citizen. Through birth, my mother had me in America and sent me back to Mexico. It's a term called anchor baby. What you do is when you want to have like citizenship. So
if you're technically, if you're physically born in America, or even just by accident, if you're a tourist, is that right that you become an American?
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly right. It's by birth. If you're born in the soil, you get citizenship. So I mean, I'm very proud of it. I have never shied away from both my blood, which is Mexican, and my citizenship, which is American. And as you probably know, I served in the United States Marine Corps, so I've done it. I've been there, and I've paid my dues to my country. And I mean, that's just how it is.
And that's interesting because I am actually really proud of I'm actually a Soviet. I was born in Soviet Union, and I don't know, did my citizenship ever stop being a citizenship? Technically, I kind of did, but I was a citizen and a Soviet, and a proud Soviet, because you can always focus on different things of the history in any country. There's always something you can be critical about or not, but in general, hell yeah, I'm proud. But that's one of those things you cannot say in the West.
I live with only Soviets, by the way. Ksenia is born in Soviet Union, and I've seen her paperwork. It says USSR, Her father's obviously Soviet. Her brother's older than her. So this building here is Soviet. I have to say, I'm born in 1989. Had I been born anywhere on this side, I would have obviously been born during the last years of the Soviet Union. And I appreciate what they've built. The society, a lot of the people around here still are majority Soviets. Why? Because they were born in that era. So you have a culture here that is predominantly Soviet. So when you say Soviet, a lot of people in the West might think, hey, that's in the past. No, it's actually still living through the people and the culture.
Yes. And by the way, not only in Russia, it's in whole Eastern Europe is not large, well, by a large part still Soviet. Even those countries that are hating on it and try to tear down the statues, like Baltic states. I'm from Soviet Latvia, actually. So they tear down the statues, but they still live in the Soviet buildings and crossing the Soviet bridges. I make videos also about with the Soviet-Russian past in also these countries from a positive perspective. That hey, you enjoy this and that. Well, it's actually from the Soviet. Yeah, but we'll talk maybe more about that on my channel. You mentioned serving the army, and can you tell me a little bit about that? Because right now the whole world is focused, the news are focused on this, a tragic thing that's going on between Russia and Ukraine. Yes, but what's your take on it as not the political stuff, but as a soldier? What makes you feel? Huh?
Yeah, I was never a soldier.
Okay.
I'm a Marine. I'm still a Marine.
There's a difference. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. In America, people like me who served in the United States Marine Corps, we say that you become a soldier. Like they give you the title of a soldier when you join the army. But as a Marine, I earned the title of the United States Marines. I served. It's much more different than us. I'm pretty sure in your country, if you have Marines, they probably think themselves higher than the regular army. But when I think about the conflict going now, I think it's very unfortunate on many levels. I've done many in-depth analysis about the conflict. I think that it's very unfortunate that it has to be fought the way it's being fought. A lot of the death count is beyond anything that anybody has seen in a long time. I just hope it ends soon. It affects me personally because I live in Russia with my fiance who is Russian, and it affects a lot of people who people in the West couldn't even imagine. So when they root for one side or the other, it's still rooting against your own brother in a way. And I think that's the biggest problem, that we start in the United States or in the Europe. They want the demise of one side when they should want both to just win. There's a possibility where two sides can win.
I'm not gonna go into the politics side of it, but because there's so many tragedies going on. But in general, the Russian and Ukrainian people, if you're not just somebody who just found out about Ukraine after 2022, then and if you're from the East, from the Soviet Union or Russian, then you know that even though it might sound now pretty bad, but these are really brother nations in every way: culture, language, how they behave. And that's a lot of discussion in the West when a lot of refugees came, and there was like a discrimination against Russian language Russians, of course. But then it was, kind of funny or ironic that, for example, some restaurant that was like not destroyed, but sabotaged in Helsinki, for example. I'm sure in Middle Europe, a lot more of these cases happened. But then the person was like, "Hey, I'm actually Ukrainian, and so you're," but because I serve Russian food or my cuisine is Russian, which is basically the same thing with the Russian Ukrainian. So they needed to let off the steam because they couldn't understand the difference between Russians and Ukrainians. And
the fact is, like here, even where I live, as far into Russia, we have people from Ukraine that have come before and after. We have family members here who still have family in Ukraine. Like I don't know the history well enough. Like, obviously I know that they were part of each other during a time, but like, you don't know that there's family members who live on both sides until you meet, hey, there's this
Millions.
guy, he's my neighbor. Yeah, you need to meet them in real life and understand what they feel. And what I learned through meeting people here who are from the Ukraine, they basically see this as their homeland, and they have family over there. They moved here, and it's interchangeable, man.
Yeah.
I just want it all to be done.
Yeah, that would. But it's hard to imagine. But yeah, so you have a totally different take on it because you've been to Afghanistan, right? Correct, or am I wrong?
Yes, I'm an Afghanistan veteran, but the only thing that I know that never changes is in war is what the men feel in a trench. Like, what I felt is the same that a man is feeling now, and people might not believe it, but let me tell you something. I've had the honor and the privilege of sitting down with a Soviet veteran of the Afghanistan war. I've talked to this man. It might have been the first time in history when this has been even talked about, but I sat with this man and I showed him photographs of what I've been through. I was a sapper engineer. I used to shoot for landmines. And I asked the Soviet man, I said, hey, what do you think about this? What were you doing? And he says, we were doing the same thing. We were looking for IEDs. They were planting IEDs. And then I showed him fortifications of the Taliban. We used to fight in trenches as well. And he's like, yeah, they would do the same thing. So how could I feel the same thing a man felt over like 40 years ago? Obviously, it's the same place, but people say, oh, technology has changed. The artillery, there's the Air Force, there's all these things. But the feeling you get when you're going to die or when you have to take a life is the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing. And people need to realize that that pain is just multiplies. If the man comes back alive, it's going to multiply. It's going to affect his society. So the only experience I have is those two feelings. And that's all I can relate to the men who are fighting now on both sides, having to take life and having to feel like my life is going to be taken.
I can't imagine that, even though my hobby is filming the World War I trenches here in Finland. But it's totally different. I filmed them as a historian, you know. I can't imagine. There weren't any battles here though during the World War I, but they were expected to be. All right, very horrific. But like you said, hopefully it will end and somehow even normalize. But I personally, I doubt it. I used to say I doubt it. There's no way. There's too much political scenery. Too many big countries are involved, which actually benefiting from Russia being not stopping it because, well, both not stopping it. By the way, you said something, I think it was in your latest video. Did you say that I love Russia and I love America? That was really interesting. Yeah. That I just wanted to say it out loud, and it made me think. I don't know what, but it stopped me for a little bit because
it bothers people. It bothers people. Yeah. Like when I tell people that I love America, they think that everybody who's here, you have to like. They think I left America. I came here as a tourist, and I just never left. Yeah, that's the truth. I never planned on staying in Russia. In fact, I didn't like Russia, and I'm saying it, and I've said it many times. When I was in the military, I thought I had to go to war eventually because my life revolved around the military. And it was like, okay, Afghanistan, then North Korea, then Russia. Like, that was the mentality of the American military. And you know what? When I planned my trip in 2019 to Russia, I said, screw Moscow, screw St. Petersburg. I don't care about that. I want to go suffer in Siberia. I want to feel alive. After the war, I want extreme situations. And when I was growing up, you know, National Geographic, it's like, Siberia is miserable. So I didn't care about Russia. When I came and I saw Irkutsk and I saw Angara and I saw Baikal, I was like, holy and then the society, the way the people treat you, I was like, forget about it. I'm not going back. Yeah. And, you know, you start learning about Russian tradition. You start learning about the culture, their history. And that's what won me over. I didn't come to Russia because I loved Russia and I thought it was a land of the free. If you come here thinking that before coming here, you're wrong. You have to experience it. You can't love Russia without it embracing you. That's the spirit that I've gained in this place. So that's why when people want to tell me like you have to love Russia or America, it's like, no, Each place gives you something. America gave me the freedom to travel, and Russia has given me the freedom to experience it. You cannot be a hypocrite and think one is worse than the other, because the other one made you and the other one is making you now. That is my mentality.
True. And but when you arrived as a tourist, did you already meet your current, is it fiancé?
No, my
what's
fiance,
the word?
No, my fiance.
So
no,
you just
I didn't
came.
know anybody.
Yeah.
It was really tricky to even get into Russia. I hadn't planned it.
When was
2019.
19.
I came in. No, I planned it in 2019, but then towards the end, I wanted to come in winter, and the coronavirus thing was happening. Canceled all my things. The airline stole my tickets and never gave my money. But anyways, I waited, and then I said, this is never gonna stop, so I just have to plan it for 2022.
Yeah.
And I planned it for 2022, and then you know what happened.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I have to go or I'll never go. So I flew into St. Petersburg. Yeah, I did it. I flew into St. Petersburg from Turkey, and then I had to get cash there and buy a ticket to Irkutsk, because that was the city. I looked at the map, and if you see Siberia, Novosibirsk is like, why would I go there? It's like so close. I wanted to go deep. Well, I didn't know.
Relatively close, I must say, because it's really, really far.
Yeah, but to me, it's nothing if I'm coming from the West. But listen, the thing is, it was by chance. I met her because when I got to Irkutsk, Airbnb canceled reservations. They sanctioned Russia, and I was like, I had a place to stay. And I wrote the people, I was like, what am I going to do? I had everything. They said, no, we don't work there anymore. And I went into a cafe and I asked, hey, does anybody please speak English? I need to rent an apartment. I need help. And she gladly helped me.
Yeah. Hey, that's a new story. I don't know, have you shared it? But now you have.
I've shared it once, but people always ask. And it's like they think that I found her somewhere else. Like, no, it was by chance. And she herself has told me that when I asked for help, she kind of liked how I looked. So I guess I was good looking for her.
That's a good start. But she had a kind heart to do so, because people in Russia really, really are interested in foreigners, and they can be outspoken in a good way, but sometimes it can be a negative also if you're misbehaving, which is also kind of a good thing, because where I'm from, for example, a lot of people might be quiet if somebody is causing a scene. In Russia, you don't need to wait for police because somebody's gonna do something. But the same thing about foreigners, that even if it's a camera or something, people come up to you. They don't care if you're filming, like in America. Are you filming me? You must have a permission. And even though I follow a lot of auditors, First Amendment auditors. But anyway, so they're really interested in you. So but you still, if you're an American in Russia during these times, it's a step over your maybe fear, for her to do so. It's really nice.
It wasn't normal because nobody wanted to help. You could tell that nobody wanted to help.
Yeah.
Because they're shy. Like,
yes.
The thing is, especially the deeper you go into Russia, if you leave Moscow, obviously it's going to be less people speaking English. But also, I've had incidents where people have attacked me in the early time when I was here because I was a foreigner. They're like, "Why are you so deep into Russia? Like you're a spy or something like this."
Spion.
Yeah, like I'll never forget what they were saying, and they ripped my bag. They chased me, and I had an incident
like people, civilians.
Yeah, 3 guys. Yeah. I haven't gone fully deep into the story, but
were they normal dudes, or were they like hustlers and doing the right thing?
No, they were military-aged men. Yeah, normal military-aged men, and I mean, one of them or 2 of them are at least intoxicated. But the thing is,
okay,
I don't. Being a Marine and I know. I used to get drunk with my buddies just to fight because the truth came out. We loved fighting. Like, all right, let's go get drunk and fight that company over there because we know they don't like us. And I believe that alcohol will bring out the truth. So when they had problems with me, it's like I understood. I was like, I'm in the wrong. Why am I out here even near them? I was like, I'm so dumb. I could have paid more attention. So I'm more conscious of these things. As a foreigner, I know that tension is high and some people can be emotional. I accept the fact that they have anger towards the West. Why wouldn't they? Like that's something that I've learned with time. And now I'm just, I know how to defend myself. I'm not American. Yeah, I'll be like, ya ni pani mayo, ya mexicanski turist. And that's it.
And Mexicans are friends. They're
everybody loves a Mexican.
But that's interesting because I have also written some questions about Russian people, and we just touched on that. But how do you think? What are your thoughts about Russian people? We mentioned certain segment of them, but what are they like, and what's the Russian culture for you been? Because you're fresh in Russia, 2 years only, less.
Yeah, almost 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So how you been soaking it in?
Yeah, I think I assimilate very fast. Mexican culture is very similar to Russian culture, especially in a small town, because I live in a smaller town outside of a town, and the people are dobre utra, like the normal older people. It's like very similar, very strong charactered, like men, like real men. I mean, this is nothing for me. I go fishing. I see the same guys at the lake. For me, we have the small stores. I mean, this is nothing new to me. A lot of people who watch my channel, when they see me so easily adapt, they're like, "Oh, you're already doing this." It's like, yeah, of course. I'm in my tilnashka. I'm already in my underwear in the river, because this is how we grew up in Mexico. Russians are very old school. Not a lot of societies are like this. If you go to California, you're not going to see people in their underwear without their shirt swimming. No, they're going to be in shorts and maybe a tank top. No, but in Russia, they go in their underwear and they go in the water. And then they get naked and they wash their underwear. Like, this is the stuff that you see in Russia that you don't see in Western Europe, unless you go into like those nudist colonies. But you know what I'm saying?
But notice big cities, you won't see that either in big cities, St. Petersburg. People are the same, but they don't behave like, it's a bit different. Yeah,
I understand. Yeah. But for me, Russia is different for everybody.
True.
Like a guy from Moscow, my friend will come visit me, and I'm going to take him to the swamp. And I hope he's ready to like be hot and be just mosquitoes and be scared for his life, because this is what we do every day. This is our reality in Russia. Russia is so giant. People in Buryatia is not going to be the same as people like in Dagestan. This is what's beautiful to me. It's a little bit similar in the United States, but it kind of lost that old feeling, because in America, everybody's kind of turning into the same mixture now. Yeah. Not in Russia.
Except if you go to big cities, like subcultural areas, like New York has certain areas, or some cities, or California has some like, what you call those, like Mexican Americans.
We call them barrios, neighborhoods.
Yeah, but the people.
Chicanos?
Chicanos, yeah.
Yeah,
I watched this Peter Santinello on YouTube. He's making like subculture series, or like Jewish settlements, Jewish cultural areas. So I think they're like even protected, right? Yes, in Russia as well.
They have Little Russia in New York.
Little Russia,
yeah. We have a tendency of, like I said, we segregate ourselves in America in a different way than in Russia. Like here, it's natural because there used to be people, and when Russia expanded, they kept their land and they have the republics. In America, we kind of do it differently. Like, I can't relate with a Chicano because I'm a Mexican. That we have way different mentalities. My Spanish is different. What I like to do is different. We do subs. We do it so much. But like, to your point about how do I see the people here? Like, I think they're beautiful. And when I travel, I see a new type of Russian. Like, when I go to pass through Ulan-Ude, that's not the same Russian as Irkutsk. You know what I'm saying? I love that.
How would you describe Russia as a country and as a people to another American who, if he hadn't his or her prejudices, like point blank?
I think Russia is a culture that'll punch you in the face. That's what I think.
Love it.
You can't come here and a lot of places you need to engulf yourself in the culture. Like you say, oh, I want to go to Thailand and engulf no, Russia, you come here, you get punched in the face. The culture comes to you immediately. That's how I would explain it. And if you like that kind of life, if you like to experience a country, come to Russia. You won't miss it.
And as a country?
As a country, like
it's free of choice. You can take a historical point or a geographical or yeah.
As a country, I think it's a monster amongst nations in every sense of the word. Everything I've ever seen is massive.
Yeah.
Cities, streets, geography, animals,
personalities,
like everything is just bigger, and you feel it. Like I said, it's part of the reason why you get punched in the face with their culture.
What do have you spoken about? What do Russians actually? Not talking about those three dudes, but obviously they had their different opinions about USA. But what do Russians think in general? Because the media, you can tell something about that too. But the media is not as crazy against America and the Western these allies or whatever. But still, it has this negative tone to it. And but what about the people? Are they American or Western?
No, I think it's more like if they had to be negative against something, they feel that that the world is against them. Because for a long time, if it's not the younger people who are like in their 20s experiencing now, their fathers had experienced the Cold War, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a never-ending story for them. Now, I will say that in Irkutsk, in the city, it's more laid back. The people embrace the Western culture. They have like Burger King over there, I think. I mean, they have a bunch of stuff I don't even see so they embrace it, and it's so peaceful. When they know I'm American, they say, oh, where are you from in America? Los Angeles. Oh, Harasho. Oh, Maladies. Like all these different things for saying good things. They love it. When you sit and speak with someone like a human being, they will never come with the sword. The Russian people are the type of people that if you come by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. But if you come like a normal person, you get treated like another one of theirs. There's no difference. You just become, I go outside and they know, hey, there's that American boy that lives in the flats. It's cool.
And about people, actually, you talked about friendships in some point also in one of your videos, and you said something nice, but you can also tell us here on viewers over here. And by the way, if I won't remember, I should remember now, subscribe to Wild Siberian channel, link in probably in the topic and also in the description. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe as well to my channel as well. What about Russian friendship? You said something that is like unique.
Yeah, I've talked about Russian friendship because the last time I remember making a good friend was in a trench. Mm-hmm. So that'll tell you something about how highly I think about a friendship. So the Russian people, they won't become your friends until like it's almost like dating for a friend. You have to see, okay, is he trustworthy? Okay, he's trustworthy. Can he do things that is going to benefit both of us? It's not like a one-lane highway. It's a place in Russia where you can create a friendship that should last a lifetime. And these are the type of men that'll go to war with you quite literally. Mm-hmm. So I made my first friend not too long ago, Ivan, and I feel like this guy, if I say, hey, we need to do something, he's going to put on his boots and we're going to go together, whatever we have to do. You lose this kind of friendship in time in America. Of course, you can still do it, right? I'm not a liar. I know I can find friends in America, but it's not so easy because the struggles are not the same. You need to you need adversity to create strong bonds. That's why when I say I made my best friends in the war, is because our friendship was put through war. And in Russia, you put the friendship through so much hard times. Guys, living in Russia, especially now, I'm not saying it's the hardest thing in the world, but you have to go through the fire with these people. as a community. And so I made a good friend. If you want good friends, come to Russia.
Did you, by the way, have any? Have you been attacked by on social media for this content?
I mean, I've been told a lot of mean things. Yeah.
Yeah, but you just get a thicker skin with time, right?
Yeah, but the problem with that is I can have thick skin, but when you have enough messages, you start seeing how sick the people are in the head.
Yeah.
And that affects everybody in the world because we're all part of one world. And it's sad for me in a way because I'm like, wow, look at this poor man. He's sick. I know he's sick. But I think it's a problem.
I get. I used to get on YouTube when this whole thing began, and a lot of them, and just little by little, they like disappeared. I make them disappear, but not long. Human problem, no human, no problem. No, just kidding. And
so in Russia, you disappear.
but there's a lot of. I have such a huge following on Facebook that I've been working on intentionally. But it also I get hundreds comments daily, and there's because it's such a huge reach. But sometimes, it's so sick. It's funny that I don't know why I'm talking about this, but the thing that they actually accuse Russia of, and they actually hoping for Russians to be as a receiver for the same things, makes you wonder, like, what is the person's ideology? But seriously, not all are just like trolls. Some of them are like, you can see that's like a young lady or older lady or just a normal dude, and they're writing this stuff.
Sick people.
Yeah, but I think it's the influence of the media, the way the media is playing with this whole thing. It's just having.
I don't blame it on the media.
You don't?
I can't blame it on the media.
But if people are sheep and the only thing they hear is this certain, aren't they being affected?
But like, listen, the thing is, you can only blame the media so much until you lose your honor. In my culture, in the Mexican culture, you cannot lose your honor. So let's say that they strapped me on this chair and they roll the same thing over and over. It's up to me to retain my honor and come deep inside my mind and come to my own conclusion, okay? This is the honorable thing to do. People who are on the internet and in real life who have opinions that are so radical and they become heretics, this is not the media. This is they become crusaders themselves. They picked up the shield and the sword, and they decided to go and do something. But listen, this is the thing. In Russia, I think that people are have a little bit more honor. There's not a lot of people who will go and, at least in my society, when I speak people, I'm only talking about my community. I don't go and say I don't speak for the world. I speak for my neighbors because my neighbors are good people. And I think that's the problem with the world. We try to outreach. I'm only myself, and Ksenia is herself. And in Slyudanka, we have beautiful people, and they're not going to give up their honor and be bad to me and or other people just because of the media. Because let's be honest, there could be media that try to brainwash them or a message that they misinterpret. But I mean, it's up to us in the end, man.
Yeah. Have you been taken into the community? Like, is the great, not gracefully, but have you been taken in? Are you like part of the community? And I don't know how big area you live in. Actually, it's like probably a smaller village. I understand, like outside Irkutsk.
No, so I live about 2 hours from Irkutsk. It's like a couple, maybe more than 100 or I don't know, around kilometers. But the truth is, this town has like maybe 10,000 people, but not everybody lives here. It's like they live here just to work in the mines and the train. We are a working town. There's not a lot of things here. We have like one restaurant. We have one road. So if you look at it in a map, it's basically, it exists only because of the train road, the railroad. Yeah. But they've accepted me. I love them. Wherever I go, usually there's somebody that knows me now. Because of the viral video, I ended up also on Channel 1 on the news. I mean, like, the town is known now. I have people from Moscow who say, hey, I want to go eat in Slyudanka. it's like.
Did you know I had also one major viral video when the first partial mobilization began. They took out of the context my video from the Finnish-Russian border, which I filmed actually a month before, and just happened to release 2 days or 1 day before the partial mobilization. And there was a huge line only because for some reason Finnish borders just wasn't letting anybody in. I don't know, did they have a longer coffee break? It was like artificial, and that new video image was actually stolen, and it crossed whole globe, and it was used by the media, starting from Associated Press, French media, Polish, French TV producers. Which was nice is that they actually started to fact check. That's how I found out, because I started to get messages from like Associated Press and different, is this real? And I had to prove them that it's been stolen. And if you check out, there's like a TikTok video and there's a text that it's a fake line or something like that. Nobody paid attention to and it was the Doors music playing in the back. People are strange when you are stranger. It was like I was trolling, but it went. I also got like 1 million views from that, but the millions of views went to the wrong person who stole the video on Twitter, and it crossed the world in 1 hour, and everybody believed. And I was wondering that Finnish border control was referring to a certain social media videos. I was like, oh shit, that's my video.
Yeah, it's weird the way the world works now, man. Like,
everybody wants to escape Russia. That was the news, of course.
Because I live next to Mongolia, I thought, okay, what's going to happen? Everybody's saying people are leaving. So I would be able to tell, in a small town, you can tell if like all the military-aged men who are working in shops, who are...
Damn.
Oh, careful. Nothing really changed in my town. Like, there was nobody missing. So, I don't know. I've lived through all of that inside of Russia, and it hurts me just to think about it, because this information war, man, it's so disgusting. Yeah. People can't just live in peace.
And you know they're going to blame us for being part of it with this content. You do know that.
I mean... in a way, there's no way out of it. Yeah, they're going to have to, because there's always going to be a black and white to the people who want to cause trouble.
But we need to end this on a positive note. If I would come, and I would actually, you've painted a picture. I have certain picture of that of your region, of your neighborhood. And my dream is to film and visit whole Russia. I know it's impossible, but as like throughout all the amazing places, that's my goal. But if I would come, I don't know if I'm inviting myself now. If I would come, and if you would take me in as a guest, what would be our day? What would you show during the one day, and then kick me out?
I mean, look, in the morning, if it's summer, we have to go fishing. And I don't know if you like fishing, but I mean, if you come to this area, you need to learn how to fish, because you need to be a part of the environment.
I will learn.
We'll go fishing in the morning. After, we can go see Baikal. On a warm day, we can get in Baikal. The water is going to be cold, but it's good for your body. Then we go out of Baikal into the mountains here behind, where we have rivers, maybe like 10, 15 minutes after Baikal, make some shashlik, spend the afternoon just drinking a little bit. I don't know if you drink, but I mean, it's a good thing to drink amongst friends.
You should know that I do drink. That's the basis of my channel.
Yeah, but it doesn't even matter if I know. You have to make sure.
I'll bring the beer, Russian beer.
Baikal, river, fishing, mountains, the true Siberian experience. And we have everything here. And of course, you're invited. I mean, I've said it to everybody who's watching. As long as you can make it here, you have a friend on the shores of Baikal.
Appreciate it. And I won't come alone, because I will travel with my wife. And then your fiance, my wife can speak. They're both Russians.
That's perfect.
And my wife actually is from Siberia also, which is a huge area. You cannot say I'm from Siberia, but she's from
mostly
Novokuznetsk. It's westward. I think it's westward from close to Novosibirsk.
Okay.
So far, still far.
Yeah, not a lot of people are close to where I live for some reason. Like if you say Siberia, they usually think that side of Siberia, but like you said, it's a big region. But thank you so much. I just want to say I appreciate the conversation. I hope that everybody who's watching acknowledges that, hey, there's many stories, there's many things. His experience is different than mine. Please do consider subscribing to his channel. It's really important so that you learn two versions of what's actually happening in Russia. Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate. Click the link in the description on in the name and subscribe to Wild Siberian. Igor in Russia. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.